Okay, we'll get right on to conduct of business. Item 10A, as I said earlier, we're going to move it to the last item here. B is waive the first reading and introduce an ordinance amending San Bruno Municipal Code, Chapter 7.24, Restricted Street Use.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. The item before you this evening is a request to introduce an ordinance that would allow the officers of the San Bruno Police Department to cite oversized vehicles without being required to give them a warning ahead of time. And when we brought this to the City Council at the last meeting for discussion and direction, the direction of the City Council was to go ahead and bring this back for an ordinance for introduction. The good news is that in the meantime, the police chief has had an opportunity to review the ordinance, and he's taken out a bunch of legalese, which was in the ordinance before. So I'd like to commend him for doing that. So what you have in front of you now and what's on the table just near the exit door is a revised version of the ordinance, which includes, or actually excludes, a bunch of extraneous language that is now really made irrelevant as a result of the change that the City Council wanted. And very simply, that change simply is that the officers of the police department are no longer required to warn individuals to move their oversized vehicles before citing them. Now, of course, we all understand, and the police department understands, that the police officers retain their discretion to warn people if it turns out that that's the best way to solve the problem. So that's the same in this ordinance as it is in any other ordinance. Just because you can issue a citation doesn't mean you're required to do so. But the police chief and I both felt that it made sense to remove some of the extraneous language in the ordinance that made it unclear. So the bottom line is now no warning is necessary. Citations may be issued in the first instance. And then there's only two other changes to the ordinance. The first one is to conform the weight limitation to state law, which is 10,000 pounds, not 6,000. And then finally, we had a couple of wording changes. There were some awkward commas and semicolons in the section having to do with commercial vehicles. But otherwise, the ordinance as revised that's in front of you this evening is, I think, what the City Council requested at the last meeting, and we have it here for your discussion, taking comment from members of the public, if there is any, and for potential introduction. That concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mark. Any questions for Mark? Okay. Anyone from the public? Okay. Any action on this?
Yes. Oh, do you want me to introduce it?
Do you have any questions or comments?
No.
I'm going to waive the first reading first.
Okay. I'll waive the first reading.
Second.
Motion second to waive the first reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I'll introduce the resolution. Nope, sorry, the ordinance.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Councilmember Marty Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember Rico Medina.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.
And just so it's clear for the City Council and also members of the public, that ordinance will come back for adoption on the consent calendar at the next meeting. And then it's effective 30 days after adoption. So there won't be any immediate effects, but it would be 30 days after it's adopted that it would be effective.
Great. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.